So I saw The Way Back, the new Peter Weir movie.
Yeah, where did you see it?
It was at a small screening room. I would have preferred to see it on a bigger screen, and I will go see it again because I thought it was just superb filmmaking.
It kind of needs to be seen on a big screen.
I think so. Yeah. And it's also, it just looked like an arduous movie to make. So I wouldn't, if you wouldn't mind taking me through some of what you had to go through. I mean, how many different locations and...
Well, we basically were based in Sofia, Bulgaria. There's a studio there. And then there's also the Balkans nearby, you know, the mountains. So, and we spent some time in another village, a couple hours from there, hour and a half from there. But when we started, they built the gulag up on the hills outside the studio.
Which is supposed to be Siberia.
Right. And it was winter time when we started. It was, well, I think it was February, I think. And so there was some snow, and when we needed snow, it seemed to snow. There's that one scene, a wide shot, where the snow's like up, like to here, and we're traipsing across there. That was kind of tough. When we started filming, we were working at night, and it got down to about 10 below. You know, in the wind and stuff, and but you know, it was so great because it was part of what these guys were going through. So it was very physical, you know, and we did a lot of walking, obviously, a lot of different terrains.
What was the worst? Was going through the snow probably? Because you looked like you were up on some pretty high.
I think the worst day for me was when we were in Morocco in the Sahara. And I got sick, you know, ate something or whatever, and really had no energy. So I had to go back. They had like there was a room I went to, was across the dunes in a kind of a hotel kind of place that I had to rest for a couple hours because I couldn't hardly stand up. But that was
How hot was it?
It was 110 or so, and that was the day that we were shot. There's this wide shot where we're pulling this thing up this sand dune that looks like a mountain, and that was the day we were filming that stuff. And I mean, it was really gruesome, man. It was tough, but you know, I liked the desert. It was great. You know, I mean, it was hot, but that's what it was about. You know, and you find your little piece of shade, and
but you guys were hydrated.
You get into a very, you know, kind of zen kind of place, and you just kind of get after it. You know, it was. You know, it was I think it was about a 4-month shoot, I think, 14, 15 weeks. And
so you shot in Mexico also?
No, we shot in Bulgaria and Morocco.
I wonder if there was some post-production done there. It's listed in the credits somewhere, but not the actors then.
Yeah, and Peter had actually, and I'm not sure how much of it he ended up using, but he had access to some of the National Geographic footage of the world that they had shot, some great aerial stuff that I think he used at times and put people in it.
Cool.
You know, but it was, you know, we were in a lot of beautiful places in Stark, and you know, and the wind would pick up sometimes. I mean, and we worked on a sound stage in Sofia, outside Sofia, where they built the forest on a stage. In other words, they brought in all these pine trees and some of the really close stuff. The blizzard stuff we actually shot on there with these big, you know, huge fans, and then blowing this stuff at us. And you know, and it was pretty nasty because that stuff would get in your eyes, you know. And I mean, it was just like ferocious. And the scene where we cut out the bark and make the masks, you know, you think that's going to help, and you have these little slits, and all this stuff is just going like right there, and it was like that was probably the most unpleasant. We would do that a number of days, and then you'd have to, after the take, you'd really, you know, the medic or whoever would be there with the eye wash solution just pouring it in your eyes because you'd just be like nasty stuff. But you know, we were there for a couple weeks before we started filming, and there was a guy who had done this walk, not continuously, but who had actually done the same walk.
Well, explain what you're going from
We're
Siberia.
going from northern Siberia
1940.
to 1940 to India.
because all this, there's this moment where you arrive in China or Mongolia.
Yeah, Mongolia
and
realize it's a communist country, and if we're caught, we're dead. So we just keep walking. And it's a very unusual film in that sense because nobody's chasing us other than our own need to survive and to get to a place of freedom.
How did you do the mosquitoes?
Well, that was post, I guess, because there certainly weren't mosquitoes around. So
I didn't think
just,
so.
You're just playing that they're there.
It's very effective.
Yeah.
It's very. So this is
the group of actors were really great. We all got along well. We were together every day. It was a really pretty great camaraderie. And that always, to me, that always comes down from the top. I mean, Peter, he likes to work with people that he knows are going to contribute, and there's no room for divas here because there just wasn't.